The White Star Line Waltz was composed by a famous White Star Line physician, Doctor John Charles Heatherington, or JCH, Beaumont. The cover of the sheet music stated, published by JCH Beaumont, White Star Line Pier, New York, and dates to 1908. It seems possible that the song was actually printed in the onboard printery of the liner that Beaumont was working on at the time, apparently the 1899 White Star liner Oceanic, during a turnaround in New York between crossings. Beaumont was a musically gifted individual and was known to spend time playing music with passengers on the liners that he served on. As a top surgeon for the White Star Line, he also would have been a prime candidate to be assigned to Titanic for its disastrous maiden voyage. Dr. Beaumont recalled meeting up with White Star Line surgeon William Billy O'Loughlin, who was then serving aboard Titanic's older sister ship, Olympic. During a talk with him, O'Loughlin, in the Southwestern Hotel, he did tell me that he was tired at this time of life to be changing from one ship to another. When he mentioned this to Captain Smith, the latter chided him for being lazy and told him to pack up and come with him. So fate decreed that Billy should go to the Titanic and I to the Olympic. Beaumont was aboard Olympic as the liner steamed east on the night of 14th to 15th April 1912. It was his first round-trip voyage aboard the giant liner as chief surgeon, as he had taken O'Loughlin's place when O'Loughlin transferred from Olympic to Titanic and he was still familiarizing himself with the vessel. When Titanic's distress calls were received and Olympic's commander, Captain Haddock, grasped their meaning, the ship set off to rendezvous with the stricken liner in the hopes of rendering assistance. Word began to spread quickly that there was trouble brewing aboard Olympic's sister ship. Beaumont recalled that he was smoking a pipe with Purser Lancaster when Chief Engineer Robert Fleming opened the door and told them, "Boys, there is awful trouble. The Titanic has been struck by an iceberg, is badly damaged, and we are going up north to her assistance." Then Fleming headed back below to fire up Olympic's power plant to maximum in the hopes of reaching Titanic in time to render assistance. Beaumont recalled, "For any of us officers on board, sleep was out of the question that night. By breakfast time, everyone knew about it and was worked up to a pitch of intense excitement." Beaumont worked to prepare 200 emergency beds for any survivors who might be suffering the effects of exposure or other injuries. In the end, however, Titanic sank before the night was out and well before Olympic arrived. White Star Chairman Bruce Ismay ordered that Olympic, which looked so similar to Titanic in many ways, not even come within sight of the Cunard liner Carpathia, which had picked up Titanic's survivors, lest the sight distress the survivors or raise false hopes. Beaumont later wrote, "The feelings of all of us on board at this crisis can be better imagined than described. The whole catastrophe was so sudden, so appalling and tragic, that not one of us could realize really what had happened. There was nothing to do but steam to Southampton." Beaumont's close connection with the Titanic disaster certainly merits the inclusion of the White Star Line Waltz in any collection of Titanic-related music. The song was originally written for piano solo when it was released in 1908. When HFX Studios released the album of liner-related music, Liners of the Golden Era, A Musical Tribute Volume 1 in April 2023, we included this unique piece of White Star Line and Titanic-related music on that album. Since then, it has been re-recorded and re-released by other musicians, including a splendid solo piano performance by Austrian violinist Patrick Vida, who serves as president of the r.m.s. Olympic Steinway Association and who founded the White Star Line Quintet. For this performance, the musicians of the quintet will be using a specially orchestrated version of this fascinating piece of music. Without further ado, please enjoy the White Star Line Quintet's original rendition of The White Star Line Waltz by Dr. JCH Beaumont.